The Griffin spoke to Morry in a voice that compelled the city's foundation and infrastructure to agree with it. A gift you deserve, and a gift you will receive. Time for a gift most wanted. Today on the Short Story Corner. Hi there, and thanks for joining me. So obviously stories can hit a lot of different emotions or serve a lot of different purposes. Sometimes, whether you're creating a story or just listening to one or watching one, you just want something that's full of adventure and fun. And that's what's behind this story today that I'm starting with this first part. I'll be the first to tell you it's not the most original idea, but it does contain some lines that were fun to write, along with a few characters that I really enjoyed getting to know while I was writing it, and that I hope to get to spend more time with in a later story. For now, though, let's meet Morry the Blade. He's a resident of the big city with a particular skill set, and for better or worse, he's getting rewarded for a job well done. Well, sit back, get ready, let's see what's waiting for him today in the first part of A Gift Most Wanted. A Gift Most Wanted. For a shadow-thin creature, made entirely of darkness and doubt, the sneak feeder had a surprisingly heavy head. The fact that its head now was separated from its body did nothing to make it feel any lighter. Nevertheless, Morry managed to set it down gently on the alley's pavement. One could never be too careful with doubt in particular. It was a bit like puddle water. Get too close, and inevitably you ended up drenched with it. Morry stood back, clasped his gloved hands in front of his belly, and tipped his head in acknowledgement of his client. The griffin stood tall on its haunches, distancing itself as griffins tended to do when faced with things they found displeasing, which explained why they were rarely seen below the peaks of the city's skyscrapers. From that vantage point several feet above Morry, the griffin glanced down its beak at the severed head and sniffed. It really is awful, it said. It's even worse than I imagined it. Oh yes, well, said Morry, can't say I've seen too many heads that look better without a body to balance them. Really? And how long have you been in your line of work? Ugh, I can't even eat it. Begging your pardon, but I thought griffins could eat anything. It's more in the way that some of your kind suggest that they can't eat overcooked asparagus. As the younger ones say, I just can't even. Morry nodded. His knowledge of popular speech was slim, and if a 12-foot griffin said it was so, who was he to argue? To think of all that doubt slipping beneath my hide and slithering its way inside, the griffin said. Its wings shook like sails in a torrential storm. Morry reached his right hand toward his left elbow, just far enough to let the sleeve of his overcoat pull back from his glove and reveal the tip of his blade. A blade made of pure moonlight was a dangerous thing, and Morry tried to avoid looking at it directly if he could. But darned if he didn't enjoy the way it shone off the rain-kissed bricks of the city every now and then, or off the pearlescent feathers of a griffin's head. The sneak feeder won't be trouble for you any more, Morry said. I promise and guarantee. A gift, said the griffin. You deserve a gift. Oh, really? But that's quite fine. You're already paid promptly and in today's economy. No, said the griffin, in a voice that compelled the city's foundation and infrastructure to agree with it. A gift you deserve, and a gift you will receive. Again, Morry tipped his head. As old as they were, griffins sometimes had difficulty navigating the subtle undercurrents that move the river of human social conventions. A griffin's offer of a gift was a bit like a child's offer to bake cake. The result was just as likely to bring a sting of tears to your eyes or an unusual curdle to your stomach as it was to bring a smile to your lips. Thank you kindly, Morry said, as he raised his head to look at the griffin. There was, Morry knew, a shade of black that suggested emptiness, and then there was a shade of black that suggested the presence of everything, both good and evil, that humans were not meant to fully comprehend. Morry had never understood how a griffin's eyes could shift so easily between the two. He had been trained, but even he felt his shoulders tighten under the griffin's stare, until suddenly its eyes flashed gold and its head snapped upward. Its face, even with the beak, somehow pulled into a grin. "You're a good man, although plain and slightly round of belly for one in your profession," said the griffin. "Your gift shall be simply that which your heart has desired most." Then the griffin raised its magnificent wings and leaped into the air. Where it had been standing, a sphere of golden light the size of Morry's head popped into existence. The sphere turned on an invisible axis 3 times before sailing out of the alley and into the city proper, looking for all intents and purposes like a steroid-filled will-o-wisp on a mission, which Morry had to deal with once, so he understood the possible danger. Think, Morry muttered to himself. What did his heart want most besides a shower and a mug of cocoa, and maybe one of those rocks from the Estonian shoreline that he could use to scrub the last of the sneak feeder's tendrils out from between his toes? If only Carol lived nearby, he could ask her, and... "Oh, no," said Morry. Despite what many believed when they first saw him, he was a fast runner. He would need all the speed his pasty legs could muster now if he was to stand any chance of beating a mysterious ball of griffin-born light to the 5th-floor apartment of Carol the Blade. Well, you think you're doing something nice by severing an evil creature's head, and look what happens. Thanks for joining me for the first part of A Gift Most Wanted. Hope to see you next time for the second part of the story. Until then, take care, and thanks again for coming around to the Short Story Corner.